Where will the gold price go? Where will silver go? Is the correction over already? Should we buy right now? We're going to look at the precious metals today on a longer time frame because that gives us some really interesting information. And I'm going to show you a metal that nobody's talking about that I like way better right now than gold, than silver, than platinum, than palladium, than copper. You get the idea. Let's talk about it now. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks and month. Yeah, it's not easy to be a precious metals investor these days. High uncertainty in the market. The last week was a rough week because it started off so well and we got the ending. Look, this is the chart on the daily, and as you can see, it pretty much tells us very little, right? Yeah, we're still below the uptrend. I've talked about it, so that's bearish. Friday's candle was no good. But we're also close to major support zones. So really, we know nothing. The old Wall Street wisdom, when in doubt, zoom out, is something that I truly believe in, and I think more investors should do. So let's jump into the weekly and see what the weekly candles tell us, because we got a new candle last week. And as you can see, if we zoom out on the weekly, therefore level out the noise from the daily chart, it doesn't look so good. It doesn't look terrible, right? We still made a higher high and a higher low intraday and on the close. All right, that's good. But here's what I see. I see we bounced off the broken uptrend, and I see a long wick. And I also see this is the third long wick in 5 weeks. And that's something that's unusual in this current bull market. If I zoom out, you can see that this bull market is really doesn't have a lot of long wicks, right? It's basically a market where people, once gold got moving in whatever direction, kept buying or kept selling. Which again, if you followed this channel, doesn't surprise you. I've told you before. Remember, trend following is one of the main investment strategies for a lot of institutional investors that do not have the fundamental expertise in the commodity markets. So they simply use trend following models. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss information like this, videos like this. Now, talking about information, 3 long wicks in 5 weeks. Now, the only time where we had something even remotely similar in this current bull market since March of 2024, when we broke above 2000, is right here when we had 2 long wicks in a 3-week period. And what happened afterward? We had the consolidation over time where we timed the breakout perfectly. So that's a warning sign. That is a warning sign that we have to acknowledge on the weekly. Clearly, there is selling pressure and not buying pressure once gold gets over this yellow resistance zone that are marked out right here. So anything about 4,100, 4,150, you see things are getting kind of dicey, and definitely over 2,500, there's no sustained buying pressure anymore. They're selling. So the question right now is this wick that we saw last week the first step down? Meaning, you see the 2 long wicks around 4,400, from like 4,250 to 4,400, there was a selling pressure. Now we get the wick from last week which is a step lower, does that mean that now the selling pressure has moved down a level? And we will learn about that this week. If a similar candle happens this week that happened last week, that's a clear information that someone is offloading their gold, right? That the selling pressure is taking us the next price level lower. But we're not there yet. We're kind of neutral. So, okay, well, Helmi, what does that mean exactly? That means exactly that. That means we don't need to do anything right now. We don't need to be in a rush right now. Which I've been telling you for a while. Nothing happens as long as we're below the uptrend which we have broken. Now, silver looks a little better because it's bouncing off the uptrend. It has established itself above the uptrend, but it has that risk of the double top formation that I pointed out last week. So what are we doing with silver? If we zoom out, that is, well, 3 long weeks in 5 weeks, but those weeks look just as bad as they do in gold. So again, do we need to rush in and buy silver right now? No. We can always get the silver squeeze, and that's why we never want to be short in silver, nor do we ever want to sell our core position. But this is not a market where we need to rush in and buy silver or buy the miners. Let's take a look at a GDXJ. Uptrend from August, clearly broken. But as you can see, we're kind of bouncing around now. It's looks more like a bear flag. It doesn't really have anything in it, right? It has here, it made a lower low, but now it made a higher high. It's all over the place. That makes sense. If nobody knows where the gold price is going, obviously some people are selling their miners, some people are buying their miners, and that's where you get these charts that don't really tell you anything. And when you don't have a clear indication in the charts or in the fundamentals, then hey, we don't need to buy and sell every day. I remember, the older ladies and gentlemen among you will remember Jim Rogers, who is basically one of the godfathers of the commodity sector, so to speak. And I sat with him in the last commodity super cycle in Vienna. It was like a big conference. We were both there, and we sat down at a cafe and talked for like an hour and a half, like really long, really nice. He was very kind. And he said something to me that I'll always remember. And that was one of the reasons why I never became a day trader and never became a heavy trader or anything like that. And that is, I asked him, Jim, what do you think people should do right now in the commodity sector? Because it was later in the cycle. I think when we met it was like 2009, 2008. And he said, Daniel, most of the time people should do nothing. They should go to the beach and enjoy their life. And then when there's an opportunity presenting itself in the market, that's when they should go and buy, and then they should go back to the beach and enjoy their life. And he's right. He's absolutely right about this, right? You look at this chart. What does this chart tell you? Really? It tells you go to the beach and enjoy your life. Yeah, you can day trade here and there, and you try to make $1 here and 50 cents there. But the risk is way too high. The stress is way too high. It's not worth the return. Let's wait till how this plays itself out. And let me instead show you a metal that nobody's talking about that looks way, way better than gold or silver. It's way more interesting. And I'm talking about aluminum. What? Yeah, aluminum. Nobody's talking about aluminum, right? People barely talk about copper in the industrial metals that are not called industrial metals anymore. Now they're called, at least in the case of most metals, strategic metals or critical metals. Let me show you what we have here with aluminum. This is the daily, and it becomes clearly when I zoom out on the weekly in a minute, but the daily is good enough. Huh? Look at this. We are breaking out right now of a base that has been in place since 2022. And if you followed this channel, you know this formation, because this formation made us a lot of money this year, because we saw it in gold, silver, and tons of mining stocks. We're seeing the exact same thing in aluminum right now. Beautiful bottoming formation or sideways trend, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter, right? The only thing that's relevant is we are breaking out, ladies and gentlemen. And if we look at it on the weekly, you can clearly see what is happening here. I mean, this is a thing of beauty. We broke out, we confirmed the breakout on the weekly, not the daily, on the weekly. Now we're retesting the breakout level, the yellow resistance zone. That's textbook. If we turn upwards here, yeah, that is a trade I want to be in then, right? If we get the retest and the retest is successful, that's the metal I want to be in on the long side. That's a clear buy signal. On the weekly, on the daily. Let's look at the monthly. Boom shakalaka. Big time monthly breakout signal. Right? So, what do we want more? This is something that I'm going to put on my watch list, that I'm going to look at and follow very closely, because there's clearly some action, some momentum developing here. And again, real quick, these are monthly charts, but look at the long rejection wicks that we got anytime we hit the yellow zone, right? Massive sell-offs in the past basically year and a half. And now we broke through. There's a lot of buying pressure going to be building up in aluminum once the breakout, the breakout is confirmed already, once the retest is confirmed. So maybe aluminum is a metal you want to put on your watch list. Gold and silver, you know what? Let's hold out and let's all go to the beach. And if we can't go to the beach, like me, who's sitting back in rainy Germany, well, then at least let's all have a good start to the new week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.